Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 427 at scavengerlife.com.
Hi, Ryan.
In our kitchen.
We just got back from Richmond, Virginia.
Capital of Virginia.
Which, when we first moved here 10 years ago, we'd been down to before.
Yeah, we've been there before.
To get actually wood or scavenge wood and just...
Yeah, salvage.
Stuff. Yeah. But we actually went for a weekend, kind of vacation / secret project.
Yeah.
And It was fun. It was... I think Richmond's also changed a lot in even the past 10 past decade.
Yeah.
It's something that we talk about, how I think that there's some like retail arbitrage going on where younger people, 30 and under, are realizing that it's too they'll never be able to live the life in New York.
Right.
That their parents did because they're priced out and they're making their own cool hip places in these like medium-sized
cities
like Richmond.
It was funny because we stayed a tiny bit outside the city, like not downtown, and anytime we needed to go downtown for a thing, it was so close. It was just like no traffic, nothing.
But you drive around and there's so many cool old houses. I mean, that town has so much to still improve on.
Yes.
And I know prices are a lot more now than they were even 5 years ago.
Right. But it's still affordable. So the whole thing is like younger people are like, I have a couple friends there that are from Boston and they're like, we cannot, our siblings have houses in Boston. They can barely afford out in the suburbs. And we can have like a nice big house in the city.
So like your friends in like a Watertown, right?
No, in Watertown. No, they're outside. They're in the suburbs. I mean, I would consider Watertown the city. You don't know anything.
Hyannis.
Hyannis is on Cape Cod. Jay's just like throwing Massachusetts names out there.
Yeah, so it's cool. I love that, and I'm sure in whatever state people are in right now that are hearing our voice, there is at least a city or two that is having a renaissance.
Yeah,
it's like,
because of this.
It's not the big a city in your state. It's like the smaller one that was overlooked because everyone thought, no, I want to be in the big cool one.
Right.
Now people are like, no, the smaller cool one is a place to go to.
Because I can afford real estate. I can start a business. I can afford groceries, like the basic things in life.
We've just kind of jumped ahead to where those places are even too expensive. And we've gone straight to go to the towns that are like 5,000 people. That's where the deals
You're right.
are.
We're like, when Richmond's too expensive, come on down.
Yeah, I think.
So that's a far shot.
And we were actually talking about that. We were like, I wonder in our lifetime if we'll be able to help create like a more vibrant community. I mean,
we're trying, right?
I love our town.
Yeah.
It's got community.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But definitely it's nice if it was a little bit livelier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Younger people.
So what we wanted to talk about was something that Ryan has come up with. I love when you think of these cool, I love cool ideas.
I love cool ideas, yeah.
And this idea is about being an efficiency punk.
I don't know why I came up with this term, but I just was like, it's kind of like a combo of like being a scavenger and also being ambitious and wanting to get stuff done. Insert expletive here. I'm just like, there's a part of me that's just like tired of, hearing people talk about things. And I'm like, just do it. How are you going to get to the point where you get it done?
Right.
Like, you're not waiting. You're not waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You're not waiting for money. You could be, but,
so being kind of outsider to this idea, when you talk about it, to me it's like it's about being efficient with time and your money.
Time and money.
And it's
Resources.
a mix of those.
Yeah.
Because, it's not just being frugal, Right. But it's also being efficient with your time, because there's a way to be so frugal that you're not efficient with your time.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's people who are really efficient with their time, but they're not frugal with their money, because they're willing to spend a lot of money just to save time. So it's like finding that like fine balance between the two. Right. For instance,
I'm glad you're helping me codify this.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because I'm like, well, it's like this kind of like hazy idea.
So we treated ourselves to a really nice restaurant yesterday. Delicious food.
For lunch.
And your thing now with a restaurant is this.
Yes.
We're done eating. Or we're
almost done.
We're like winding down.
We're wrapping up.
And it's been a really nice meal. And what you do is a waiter comes by and says, "Can I get you anything else?" And you'll say, "I want the check right now."
Right.
Even though we're not done yet.
Right. I said, "I'll just take the check." So I did this yesterday. We had lunch and we had to go do something else. And I was like, this is a lovely meal. I don't want to sit here for another 45 minutes. I want to go. So I said, the last time they check on us, I was like, we'll take the check, even though I'm still eating. She's like, great. While she's getting the check, you get either you're paying with cash, which we never are, or you get your card out. So you can take a second to look at your check if you think something's wrong, but I just give her the card. I'm like, just take the card. Right. I want it. I don't want to wait and then wait and then wait and then wait.
And swipes it, and then we get it. And the idea of this, the reason why this is an efficiency punk thing, is that instead of enjoying your meal and then it ends, and then often what can happen is there's like a 15-minute like kind of where a meal starts getting bad. Because you're ready to go, but you're waiting on the waitress, and maybe she's busy with other people. It's not her fault.
She knows you're kind of done, so she's letting you like hang out.
And then she brings a check, but then she walks away, and then you put your card down. That takes another 10 minutes, and then like by the end of all that, you're like, oh, my time has just been wasted. So anyway, your efficiency punk is you're like hacking that
I'm like,
system.
This is happening. Right. This is how I want it done. I want it done fast. I'm controlling the time. Right. Because we always talk about sometimes when people open restaurants and they have table service like that in a non-fancy restaurant, it's basically a takeout place. And you're like, you need counter service. That's all this place needs, It's like boom, boom, boom. Here's your number. Go. Right. So those are examples of things that I try to.
Right. And God, it's such an overused word in like the kind of in certain circles, but it's the idea of you want to live in this like flow where just your life is moving along, and you're making sure your time is not being wasted by people around you.
Well, that's why, like when we're doing things or like this podcast, for instance, we have an agenda. We have a list of things we're going to talk about. Right. It's like...
Are we being efficient punks right now?
Yes, always. Oh my God. It's like, and I think I totally annoy other people with this sometimes where I'm like, I want to know what we're doing. I want to know what is going on. I want to know the order of things, and I want to know how long it's going to take. You even do that to me sometimes. Hey. We'll get in the car and we're going to like 4 different places to run errands, but you won't tell me what they are. And I'm like, no, I just want to know, because I'm not going to dispute it. I'm not going to be like, we can't go there. I'm just like, I just want to know so I am set up for the information.
Well, I know we just drove home, and as we were kind of getting into our neighborhood, I was like, all right, and this is what's going to happen. I'm going to park. We're going to unpack the car.
And then we have to do these things.
I've got to feed the cats.
Right. Let's put the laundry in, and then we're going to do the podcast. And then while the podcast is happening, I'm doing this. Laundry, and we're now, it does have a lot to do with the fact that like we run several businesses. So if things are not getting done, you need to know.
I mean, I think that if you're not running your own business, maybe time isn't as necessary to
schedule
be
all the time.
On top of. Anyway. I think we might be getting a little too far out, but I do like that idea. Efficiency punk.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just this idea of, like you said, efficiency of time and money and resources. It goes along with the DIY movement, the scavenger movement, the financial independence movement.
Right.
Like it encompasses all those things. I feel like
you're trying to bring it all together, and then it's just like one single stream of life,
and then you die. So that's right. Just inevitable end.
And then an efficiency punk just crawls into the forest somewhere, into like dies. A hole, covers yourself up with leaves, and then you die.
And doesn't tell anyone because you're like, whatever. Yeah.
Perfect. I love it.
I'll write it all down.
It's a beautiful okay, let's talk about eBay. So the fall seller update officially came out.
Yes.
And if you're new to eBay, this happens now 3 times a year. Spring seller
summer,
update,
fall,
summer seller update, and the fall seller update. And oftentimes these are scary moments for an eBay seller, because eBay sometimes pops in these like big changes that can make you have to realize, I have to like change the whole way we're selling and stuff.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there is nothing that seemed to come out that is concerning anyone, and actually it seems super positive.
Wow,
like
what?
A lot of tools that are supposed to help us instead of make us change how we do things.
That's like
so we were all talking about on its forum. So it's one thing is, eBay's now really pushed the promoted items,
promoted listings,
right, where you can pay extra and they'll like, I guess, insert them into the search terms.
Yeah.
Before, oftentimes, you would do a search on something and our item would show up, and then our promoted item would show up
right underneath
it. And
so that's changing.
You would see other people too. Yeah. Supposedly they're going to start taking those out.
Yeah, you're like, move it around. Like the whole point is to
Now I know there's a lot of sellers who think that this promoted item thing is just a cash grab by eBay. Like if Ryan's eyes are like,
no kidding.
And I mean, look, it's totally voluntary.
You don't have to do it.
There was old dad on the, not my dad, that's his name on the forum. He was like, I looked and like 40% of my sales are promoted. Yep. So, he's paying extra for that.
Yep.
And, it's fair enough. Like, I don't know. Turn it off.
Right.
See what happens,
I do 1%.
Yeah.
That's the lowest you can do.
eBay allows people to search that. I mean, to change that. It can be 1%, or
it could be like 100%.
They'll be like, we recommend 8% or whatever.
Oh, I see categories where it's between 30 and 40%.
Right.
Like, this is the trending rate. I'm like, okay.
I mean, and there are sellers out there, who, I don't know, like they do free shipping, free returns.
Oh, that's
$5 plus, it's just like everything. So
99-cent item.
Anyway, so let's keep going. eBay seems to be, they say they're integrating Terapeak more into eBay.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
So
how?
eBay bought Terapeak a year ago, 2 ago.
And you can search it. You can search like sell.terapeak.com or something. If you're signed into eBay, you can search it for free. It only gives you 90 days. No, I'm sorry. It gives you a year. Mm-hmm. It gives you a year of data, which is cool, but you're kind of like, can I get all the data?
Yeah, so Terapeak is kind of like a worth point, I guess.
Worth point, yeah.
The worth point guy probably might not like to hear that they're comparing, but yeah, it's kind of like worth point.
Well,
it's like historical data.
Yeah, you're searching.
And so in an eBay search, it's 30 days, I think, right?
No, it's 90 days. I'm pretty sure.
Days. So now Terapeak is giving you
a year. Which is good because, in a way, if I'm like, I want 5 years, it's like, well, is the market still there for this item that got sold for, $100 5 years ago?
So where do you, I guess, for me, so, you go to ebay.com, there's a search bar, you search, and it shows you 90 days of solds. Where do you see the Terapeak?
Go to a different page. It's like sell.terapeak.com or something.
Is there a link to it on the page?
I have no idea. Okay. And actually, I have no idea how I found it.
Gotcha.
You know what? I had to Google it, click on Terapeak, make sure I was signed into eBay, and it lets me use it.
Gotcha.
So funny thing, right? You're like, why isn't it in my, like, seller hub or something? When you click sell a listing, why isn't there, like, a little sidebar thing?
Yeah, or just, like, why not... integrate it into the eBay search. I mean, I've always said that eBay has. I mean, it's their own site. They have data. They could sell you sold data, and instead they're choosing to. I guess they sell the data to like a Worth Point and Terapeak.
But now they own Terapeak.
Why not just give that data to sellers?
Especially like people who pay for subscriptions.
Yeah. So it sounds like that's why they did Terapeak. I'm on our seller hub, and I'm like,
where is it?
I don't see.
Will you Google Terapeak and just see what the URL is?
I don't want to do that.
You don't even care.
But anyway, that's the thing. Yeah. The other thing is, a lot of these things were stuff that eBay had kind of mentioned they were going to do at the eBay Open.
Yeah.
And the other thing was they are now still rolling out the limited access to your eBay account for employees.
Right, so multiple user access.
Right.
So I saw that on the update, but I didn't read through it.
And when it first came out, people were like, "Oh, it's cool." I tested it out, but the mobile app still doesn't give.
Right, so that's part of the issue. So our helper goes through the mobile app to start listings and take photos and whatever. Or I'm sorry, it's just to take photos. So you're like,
yeah, so
I want to make it so they don't see my 60-day sold price.
Right.
You're like,
right.
So
anyway, I'm not sure if they've fixed that, but again,
interesting.
I'm super positive. These are all good changes.
Yeah,
this isn't like we're upping our prices. We're making you pay more. So
these are positive. Yeah.
Yep. So gut reaction to the week, Ryan. How'd it feel?
I say the same thing every time.
Medium.
Maybe because the last few months it has been.
That's your life. We still are kind of on a steady drumbeat. So we sold 32 items for $1,286.
Okay, $1,200 ain't bad.
Yeah.
Ain't too bad.
I mean, it seems like we've kind of gotten accustomed to those kind of sales.
Yeah, we're like, okay.
The past 4 months. So I'm ready for the holiday season, some of the things we sold a vintage lamp for $300.
That was last week. I think it happened right after the podcast.
Well, it's considered the week we're talking about.
Sorry, but Sunday. Last week when we were recording. Yeah. Right, so it was considered this current week. I had that lamp up for a long time, and I got lots of low offers, and I was like, I'm holding on to this.
Yep.
I think I had it up for $4.99.
It was like cool, modern.
It was this weird plastic. Yeah. What did we call it? I forget what it was, lava rocks or something weird. Swag.
Yep.
Plastic. Yep. Weird. It was cool though.
Yep. We sold an old photo for $70.
Yeah, an old photo from 1910,
which is really, people who are really into ephemera. I mean, it's always a cool feeling when just a little piece of paper sells.
I love ephemera. It's so weird.
And the interesting thing to me was, normally you can sell old photos if you can identify it. It's got the name of a building that's torn down,
city,
a family.
Yeah.
This was a photo of a men's club, but there was no name, no town,
no identifying any information.
And I just wonder if somebody was, doing deep searching and somehow saw our photo with no identifying anything.
Highly doubt it.
And could figure out where.
They're somewhere in Europe. They're in Portugal. I'm like,
it's why would someone pay $70?
I don't know.
It's amazing.
It's a cool photo. I don't know.
And then I always love to talk about this. A pottery teapot, a little teapot.
Yeah,
pottery.
That was a cool one.
Off of a table.
Yep.
Didn't cost us really anything.
Redware, British redware.
$70.
And it was this metallic, pewter gunmetal.
It was dipped in.
It was dipped in metallic.
Yeah.
Coating. It was beautiful.
Yeah. And I feel like it's safe for me to say now. I think that that painting we sold, the most expensive item we've ever sold in the history of our eBay.
$2,500.
The guy didn't return it.
So he signed for it. He knew it was a signature. I said, hey, this is going to require a signature, so, you'll have to sign for it. And he's like, great, no problem. Awesome. That's all I heard. Yep. He signed for it 2 days later.
I feel I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm looking around. I'm worried, but I think we're in the clear.
I hope so. That's a great sale. Yeah.
Customer issues. After we seem to have like a run of like returns.
Yeah.
It was a quiet week.
It was pretty quiet. I
nice.
still got a return, like little clothing return, but it was not my fault. They said change my mind.
It was a tie, right?
A couple ties. It was like a pair of ties. Right. It's one of those things where like you sell it and you're like, oh great, like I had that forever, and then it gets returned.
They're like, oh, I just don't like it.
I just didn't. No, literally, they're like, I just changed my mind.
So there's a guy on our forum, Tony. He is actually like one of the original members of the Scavenger Life community,
like from
a long time
days.
ago. Yeah, and he actually has an interesting story where like he had a store, and then just I guess through a set of circumstances, his store just kind of failed, and he admitted that. Like,
he said it wasn't working,
and then,
how they were doing it then,
and then he just stopped it.
Yeah,
and then he restarted in the past a year or so with like all new eyes, like a new mindset, and his store is doing well. It's interesting. He just said on the a forum, he's done an experiment for 1 year. He has had an official policy of no returns. Like
he doesn't have free returns on. He has no returns.
Buyers cannot return anything,
and he sells clothing.
And he says he's never had one buyer in the past 12 months ask for a return because even if you say no returns.
If someone says item not as described.
Right.
So he's describing his items very well.
Right.
Then.
So, I'm just like bowled over.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because, I don't know. So it's amazing.
Yeah. That's like people who are like, I've been selling on eBay since 1997 and I've never got a negative feedback or a neutral feedback. And you're like, what?
How is that possible?
How?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. History Nerd brought up this kind of cool topic about going thrifting or scavenging with someone who's not like a real scavenger. Like, a family member. It's like you'll go in there. She says like she'll go in there with her mom.
Right.
And for people, it's like us. We kind of know all the places to hit.
You look at things pretty quickly.
And you turn around and like the person that you're with is like still in the sweaters, just going one by one.
One by one.
Two.
One. You know what's hilarious though? My mom is a scavenger and she does sell on eBay. You cannot get out of a store under 3 hours. Right. You're like, we've been done like for 3 hours is an extreme.
Although I feel like your mom is pretty good about like she's such a completionist that she does find
things. Yes, totally. She's not just like,
she also has a whole thing where she like has the Bluetooth like phone
so she's
thing,
like talking to someone for an hour.
Talking to someone. Yeah.
Oh my, not an efficiency punk.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Whereas I think probably a lot of us are more, instead of just spending 3 hours at this one thrift store, let's go to like 5 thrift stores.
Let's
So anyway, I thought that was interesting topic.
It is a funny topic.
Yep.
I agree. Where you're like, non-scavengers or people who are not sellers, where you're like, boom, 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 and they're like,
well, it's the difference between we're going there. What can I find for cheap? To sell,
not for myself.
They're going in there like, I don't really need anything, but let me just go and look at everything, and maybe I'll find something I like. Totally
for
different.
A deal.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to questions that people sent in.
You can always call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486, and you have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hey, Jane, Ryan. I listen to a million podcasts, but yours gets listened to every week because it comes out on Sunday, so keep that up. I'm a full-time artist now, and I occasionally fill gaps with eBay, but I'm a scavenger at heart and used to be full-time eBay, selling everything just like you guys. The reason I'm calling is because of your Scavenge of the Week, stainless flatware. At one point in my eBay life, I switched over almost exclusively to selling flatware because it's so easy to take photos, list, ship, everything. I wanted to share a few tips I have accumulated during that time. The first one is there are definitely good patterns and worthless patterns. I have a million patterns in my head at this point, but when sourcing from thrift stores or sales, that first good rule of thumb is the Northern European is awesome, Germany's great, Japan is okay, Korea is hit or miss. Leave the rest, except for Cutco, made in the USA. Those are good. The second one would be to break up your sets to a point. You're right in wanting to break those things up. In good patterns, dinner forks and teaspoons are valuable. Everything else is like less so. If you have a set, break off and sell the forks and teaspoons separately, either singly or in sets of 4. You can bundle the rest of the pieces of the pattern usually. The third one is you'll invariably end up with a certain amount of junk. You can bundle those up and sell them in lots, like mixed lots of 50 pieces of forks, knives, spoons. Mixed patterns are popular for people that are getting married and having like home weddings, things like that. And the other leftovers you can just toss in like a large flat rate box and sell a random mixed. Just list the weight on those. You don't even have to count the pieces. The fourth tip, and this is maybe the most important, is to buy the book. Replacements.com has a stainless flatware guide you can purchase. It lists thousands of patterns, and they're organized by brand, marking, and then visually by the handle shape. It's so important to have a copy of the guide, in my opinion, if you sell any amount of flatware, because pattern identification is more than half the battle. And then shipping. Flat rate padded envelopes are your friends. Just wrap stuff in tissue paper loosely and pack them in there into flat rate envelopes. The padded ones for larger sets, and then just regular old craft envelopes work for the stuff that's smaller and you can sell or you can ship with first class postage. Anyway, I know you guys are kind of hands off and want everything as simplified as possible. That's exactly how I always did it. So after lots of trial and error, those are kind of my essential tips. Good luck to you guys, and keep the good work. I love listening to you. Bye.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know what happened to your audio in the middle there, but I'm going to try to keep it.
It sounds like she was rolling around in a sleeping bag. Or she was like...
But yeah, so I agree with a lot of that, although I have had great luck selling knives and spoons and all kinds of things. I don't
break it down. So, the reason why flatware is so cool is because, people... You get to a point in your life, you're like, I want to, use good flatware because, I eat every day. Like, let's have something nice. Right. Yeah, definitely if it's like a Nordic, Norway, Sweden, kind of Germany isn't Nordic, but, kind of like Northern European. Yeah, that stuff will always sell. Yeah. The thing is, I find it very hard to find that stuff.
Like I don't know. So rare.
I don't know if she got out of it because she stopped finding it, but like I do not go into Goodwill and find like a Nordic flatware
a set.
Just like
you might find
around.
One.
That's the kind of stuff we find in auctions, and people bid on that stuff, so it doesn't go cheap. I will say we break things up much more than maybe other people will, and we find that people will.
I sell it. I did sell some forks the other day of a Hackman, Finland. I sold a set of 5 forks for like $80.
Yep.
Hello. Yes.
And we do not get the luxury to buy like complete sets.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about like in a box. There's like 22 pieces. 4 spoons,
random
3
stuff,
knives, and we just break it up to what makes sense, and it will always sell.
It sells. And again, like she said, if you have a mishmash of stuff of like, I mean, look, there's stuff that's not worth anything that you should just give to the thrift store. But if you have a mishmash of like actual silver plated or whatever, sometimes I sell them in a set together.
And she's absolutely right. It's this whole like thing with like people with weddings, and they like buy old flatware
that have
like
cool floral patterns.
Country kitsch, and then I guess after it's all done, they just throw it all away or something.
They probably donate it. Yeah. I don't think they just throw it in the garbage.
And then shipping it, is that how you do it?
Shipping's easy. Yeah, exactly. So it is heavy. It can be heavy. If you only have like 3 spoons, that's probably first class, and that's easy.
Right.
You can use a bubble mailer or a craft mailer or something that's like, I wrap it up in tissue paper, and sometimes I will wrap that in cardboard itself just to give it a little more protection, but then I throw it in an envelope. And a padded flat rate is great because if you have like an actual set, it's heavy. It's like 4 pounds. Yeah. And
I can't imagine personally running a full-time business doing just flatware because I don't know where we'd find enough.
You would only shop for that.
Flatware.
Yeah.
I mean, and she is right with replacements.com. That's really the go-to for anyone selling, china, pottery,
flatware,
dinnerware, flatware.
Because if you know the brand and you're like, there's no pattern on this, because most of them don't have the pattern written on the piece, you can look through and be like, oh, this is the such and such pattern.
At replacements.com is in, where are they?
Greensboro, North Carolina. We visited
South Carolina.
No, it's North Carolina.
North Carolina? Anyway, it's in a Carolina.
Greensboro.
And it's started by 2 guys, and that's what they do. People sell them. Grandma dies. No one wants his china set. This company will buy your pattern, your big thing, and then they break it up.
And if you have a rare pattern, they'll pay you more. But if you have one that they're like, oh, we have like so much of this, either we don't want it or it's cheap,
Got it. Yep. So anyway, that is
Flatware 101.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Gina. I listened to your podcast. I found it not too long ago. I'm a longtime seller, and I always like learning new things, and I learn a lot listening to you guys. The question I have is this, and maybe I'm the only one, and maybe, I don't know, is why I'm asking. I want to know why eBay won't let us select states as sellers. In other words, I live in California, and I have some things that, are reasonable to ship within California. Say it's like 30 pounds. I can ship things within my state really cheap. I know they have local pickup, and that's, I'm not interested in that. Like when we do worldwide shipping, they let us pick, let me just ship to Canada. I'll exclude this one and this one. They let us pick there. Why won't they let us pick a state? I mean, I would only do it on certain items. Most items I don't mind. I ship them globally. I do all that. But on certain heavy items I would buy to resell if I was guaranteed they'd sell in California, which, can't be guaranteed that. So anyways, I just wondered if that was just me or if you all have ever thought about that or if you care about it. And the other thing is, nothing to do with that, but you always talk about the free eBay tape. Do you have to be a store person? Because I don't have a store, and I've never seen the eBay tape. Every time I look for it, it costs money. So those are my 2 questions, my burning thoughts. Anyways, thanks for your wonderful podcast. I love both of you. Bye now.
So, yes, that's a good question, I think. But however, I think eBay might just be like, if you're willing to ship it to someone in California and someone in New York wants it and they're willing to pay for the shipping, just sell it to them.
So I don't understand the problem she's trying to solve. Like, why would you just want to sell to someone in California? I guess the only thing I can think of is you do free shipping.
Oh, maybe.
And you're willing to say, okay, in California,
this lamp it's
going to be $10, but I only want to sell to someone, so I know it's going to be $10. So someone should, and so the answer is calculated shipping.
Yeah, calculated shipping.
Don't do free shipping.
If someone on the East Coast is willing to pay $150 to ship this delicate, big, heavy lamp thing.
Yeah, so I mean, basically just like you put calculated shipping on there, and then people, wherever they are, they can choose to pay to mail it there. So I think that's the way. The other thing is about, eBay tape. It is absolutely for people with store subscriptions. eBay started this thing 3 years ago or something?
Yeah, a few years ago, where you get a coupon.
It's kind of like a perk. And the reason why they did it is they raised everyone's rates.
Yeah.
And then to kind of give you a bit of sweetener, they said, we're raising your rates for store subscriptions, but we'll give you a coupon, and so you can get boxes and tape. And
Right, so you can see, anyone can see
Yeah.
eBay shipping supplies, the seller, like you can go buy eBay tape, I don't know why you would, but we get a coupon to make it free.
And we would not buy it if it wasn't free.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I would just buy whatever's the affordable tape.
We are stocking up. We don't use as much as we get every.
I just buy it every
quarter.
time.
We are stockpiling it because I'm assuming at one point eBay is just going to stop that program.
Yeah, we don't know when, but someday.
Okay, that is it for the podcast, Ryan.
That's it. You can call our voicemail number at 540-407-8486.
And we'd love to hear from people either with a question or with just kind of like with the flatware. We just love to learn and hear other people's opinion.
You can also email us an audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
Yep, and don't be rolling around in
A sleeping
bag. While you're
No, that's
talking to
not
us.
what you do.
We post this episode every Sunday or Monday. That's our goal. And Wednesdays, we post a video every Wednesday. Steve
Schultz, still going.
he has been doing it now for
Years.
And
Amazing.
He's got a beautiful, syrupy voice.
Yes, he's got a radio
Funny
voice.
voice where he
Yes.
talks about the things he sells. And he's such a fun scavenger because he's always finding really cool stuff.
Yep.
Obviously, if you like podcasts, you can subscribe to us. iTunes,
YouTube.
whatever podcast thing, we're free. And if you want to subscribe to our Patreon,
What's Patreon?
you give us a little bit of money.
A little bit of money every
This
month
helps
to
kind
help
of
us
makes
pay
us
for our
feel
server.
good. We pay for things,
Yeah.
it's all good.
You can listen to our other podcast where my sister and I talk about Airbnb
Yep.
businesses,
Yep.
our businesses.
Rental businesses.
Yep, it's shampooandbooze.com. We
Yep.
put one out every week.
Yep. That's
It's
cool.
fun.
All right.
Okay.
This podcast is ending in
3, 2, 1, bye.
Bye.